You never do that again. There's a band called Dillinger Escape Plan, and they had a album called Ironworks, and I really liked the word on the play on words on that for ire and fire. So I'm like, I'll just take that instead of wildfire. I'll do wild ire, and that's pretty much what it was. It was just like I'm like really liked angry music, and at the time we weren't doing very angry music, but still I liked it a lot.
Ire is like the key word for irate, for anger too as well. It's like when the band is wild anger, even though most of our stuff's pretty sappy.
I think for drumming, definitely. Because I don't want to always write quick shit on my guitar, but I always want the drumming to be be the opposite of me. Like if I'm not playing something incredible, I want the drumming to be incredible, and vice versa. So that's kind of what we're doing now. Instead of always going all out, it's more like one person shines while the other one takes backseat. And a lot of times we'll do Jake instead because he's a great singer. So we started to do virtuosic singing and some stuff.
It's definitely, when we got together as a band, all of our music tastes happen to be the bands that are showing off a lot. Like we really like prog bands or math bands like Tron and Polyphia. Yeah, we really like those bands that obviously are pushing the boundaries of instrumentations and stuff, and that's what we got into, and we're kind of forming our own version of it, I guess you should say. I think it's very vital. That's how we get majority of our shows. Some other band comes up and says, hey, we need somebody to fill the spot, or I like your guys' sound, will you play with us? And that's how usually we get most of our shows. And how we build our fan base, per se, is when we play some other guy's show, and their fans actually end up liking us too. And then we build that fan base and just keep going beyond that point. But to be like fair square to the question, it's very vital. We don't search to make enemies at all in the scene. We want to make friends. We want everyone to succeed, because there's not a single ounce of fame to give to one band. It's endless. So we're not all trying to, like, I'm going to become famous before you. I'm going to be the one that makes it kind of thing. No, we all want each other to become substantial and make it at some point.
At least on a tour, and hit up the internet a lot harder. That's what we're trying to do, is YouTube the shit out of big people.
I think when growing up for myself, I always imagine myself playing stadiums, but I don't think that's a valid point to try to hit nowadays, the way our culture and society is becoming. The stadium bands are the bands that were big in the 70s and 80s, whereas a lot of the bands I'm into now are not playing that. They're playing the Hawthorne Theater, the Analog Theater instead. Something more intimate per se, and I think I want to do that. I want to at least open for one of the bands I look up to and listen to, and that's where I feel like I'll be happy with the group. Like, oh, we made this rounds. I still have to work my day job, but I opened for one of my favorite bands of all time, or I toured with one of my favorite bands of all time.
That's definitely where I'm thinking.
Yeah, like that. I'm okay with that. Underground success to me is more important than being, at the MTV Music Awards or getting a Grammy per se. That stuff's nice and it'd be cool down the line, but that's not where my goal is.
Bruno Mars is killing it. Like, I wanna make music like Bruno Mars.
For me, it's like contemporary R&B. They call it neo soul now, like on the internet.
Yeah, we do. We kind of do that.
Like one of our songs, "Freaky Business," is kind of hinting that realm, where it's that mix of proggy with like Maroon 5. But I listened to like this guy called Rex Orange County recently, and he's been produced by Tyler the Creator. He was on one of the Tyler the Creator songs, but his other music is very, per se, like neo soul pop music, and I've been really getting into that and thinking back to the sound, where you get these hooks and catchy hooks, but it has this weird retro vibe to it.
Growing up in church with my parents and stuff like that, and playing on stage for youth groups and whatnot.
I mean, probably for me it would be wanting to play the saxophone so much when I was in elementary school that I just kind of went on a whim and did it on my own. And that's how I got started playing music.
I'm trying to remember. I actually was singing before I was drumming, so my experience is like doing little things because all my family's musicians. But I did like talent shows in elementary school and stuff like that. But it was all mostly singing.
And other than like river dance at 4 and like just growing up to 80s music in my dad's truck, I was in choir for some years. I dropped off, and then my buddies and I in high school, we formed a band, Crusaders Anthem, in high school. So that was my interjection in music.
River dancing, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
I did not know that about you.
Like I used to dance in front of the TV to river dance and stuff.
Did you have shorts and
Well,
clothes?
also, just like growing up in Spanish church, there's like a lot of music, and like
Really good music.
yeah,
Really
because like it's Spanish church, so you're gonna get a lot of piano chorus and acoustic guitar and whatnot. But for starters, it wasn't bad. Just like Christian Spanish music, worship music.
You didn't like grow up in church doing music, huh?
No, I did not grow up in church.
You did, or Josh did, I did, and so did I.
Sometimes I do kind of write about some anti-theistic stuff. I'm not completely anti-theistic to the point where I want to end religion, but Christianity is like personal to me, because like I grew right. It's still everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see Jesus and a cross, and it's like I can't escape it. It's like this fucking nightmare that I just embrace it. But like writing about it helps, So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to put anything that I don't mean, because like then why should it mean to them, and why should it mean to anybody else? So and when it comes to actually writing the lyrics, I try to I don't know, like with this band, I feel that since we're so free flowing, I can kind of actually write whatever I want. It's kind of that general. But I would say that there's like metaphysical themes and some spiritual themes that I invoke. Nothing like specific because I love to keep it as general as possible so that everybody can just interpret it for what they want it to be. So.
I played in band a lot in middle school and high school. Was jazz band for a little bit. Was in choir, so I sung all sorts of like Baroque, classical, romantic era style pieces. I have a lot of experience with like blues guitar. I learned from a lot of dudes that were like session musicians for other bands and stuff like that. It took me a long time before I started getting into metal, and that was my rebellious phase.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of just started off playing like blues and jazz and things like that on bass, and on the opposite spectrum, things like grunge and things like that. And then I kind of just gradually wanted to get into everything that I could get my hands on. So when I got to be a senior in high school, I made sure that every musical endeavor that I could possibly do, I got into. So it was like wind ensemble, playing percussion. You know, I played upright bass in the beginner orchestra. You know, playing electric bass and jazz band and singing in choir, occasionally playing bass in choir. There was studio productions. It was a lot of shit. And I mean, it helped me play pretty much whatever genre that I like want to play. I could play it. So.
The scenes are just so broad. There's no scene, there's just the Portland music scene. If people can get away with doing a show with someone that's not even close to what they sound like, they do it all the time. So for example, like, if a band's close enough to another band that has screaming but their band doesn't, like a pop-punk band could easily play with a metalcore band, but neither of them are gonna play with like a folk band. It's like close enough. So like, we can play shows with Wild Ire because we're not a super heavy band. But even then, I'm sure they could play with super heavy bands if they wanted to. It's just the scenes are so broad. We can play with dad rock bands, they can play with dad rock bands, they can play with metalcore bands.
Money?
Get out of here.
We make prog rock. We're in it for the money, dude.
Yeah, we make progressive rock music.
That's what's on the radio these days.
Yeah, that's what everyone's listening to.
I just want to make money from doing what I love doing.
I think all of us.
But if I'm not making money, I can't do it.
Well, I think everyone only. I mean, obviously, you start skateboarding because you love it, and the only reason you get good at it is because you just love doing it. So you love doing it so much. The byproduct of all that doing it is practicing. So then you get really good, and then everyone that is a sponsored pro, they got that to that point in their life because they just love doing it. So at the end of the day, you just do it because you love it. But if you can make a living off of that, obviously that's the dream. And it is the long-term goal, but we're not in it just for the payday. We haven't really got a huge payday. We know there's not going to be a point where we can, like, you know, get dropped off in an Uber at the BMW lot and then just, you know, pay in cash and then drive away in our cool new car.
You lease it?
Yeah, lease it with my awful credit. It costs like 5 times as much.
Your white BMW.
Yeah, we're definitely in it because we love doing it. But the end goal is to make a living off of it. But we're not doing it just so that we can make a living off of it.
What was the question?
Zach answered it. We're good, dude.
No, you said like burn money or
What's the point? Like, are you doing this for money or are you doing it because you love it?
for personal.
For personal gain, yeah. I mean, because I talk to a lot of people that don't play any instruments or even kind of listen to this music. So when they're like, well, what kind of band are you in? One, I never know what to say. And then when I do finally say like post-hardcore rock and roll, they hear the post-hardcore and the first thing they think is like, oh, there's going to be someone up there like screaming and we're going to be up there like, I don't know, playing fast and just being loud and aggressive. And that's totally like not really the vibe that we're putting out. And there was just because people have screamos is a thing, I guess, still.
Yeah. And every time I tell someone what kind of band I'm in, they always ask if we do covers, and that was so annoying. No, we do not do covers. I
think the main stereotype
we could, but we don't. Not every rock band just plays covers.
Yeah.
All the time.
The main stereotype is most people don't play an instrument, so they think
Emo.
they're probably not
Yeah,
like all
emo, sad.
all like
I think emo is usually
original.
what I hear from random people. So like that emo music stuff with the yelling,
With the
or
screaming, the screamo, yeah.
And then screamo has its own connotations. Like if you tell someone, like if we were a screamo band and we told people we were in a screamo band, they'd be like, "Oh, you guys are like appeal to 15-year-old girls," you know.
But that's if they listen to screamo.
The toughest part
You know what I
sometimes
mean?
they just
If
don't.
it was just
I
like
guess.
if it was some random person and they're like, "What kind of band are you?"
I
in?
guess
heard
that's
you playing,"
true.
You'd say post-hardcore rock and roll. They would say like, "Oh, that's like a weird guy up there screaming into the mic and like that devil stuff."
Yeah,
and, you know, you guys,
that's
that's not
true.
even real music. I think that's.
It's
really,
not even real music.
Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah, that's like the big.